Welcome back to Project 82, the SCP Remote Access Database. Which case file do you require?
Item number SCP-088. Object Class Safe. SCP-088 is to remain sealed in its airtight case at all times. The case is constructed of transparent acrylic plastic to resist the corrosive properties of SCP-088's secretions. In the event that SCP-088 should awaken from hibernation, any room that it is stored within should be constructed of durable plastics, rubber, or ceramics to hinder its ability to escape. Temperature of SCP-088's containment should not exceed 15 degrees Celsius, and any personnel entering containment must observe Level 4 hazardous material protocols and wear the appropriate protective gear at all times. Any personnel who do not observe proper containment protocols in presence of SCP-088 or who show signs of physical mutation are to be demoted to D-Class and held for observation. SCP-088 is a humanoid with reptilian features which appears to have been mummified in a languid posture. However, SCP-088 is merely in a state of hibernation, from which it may recover if it is again exposed to a more hospitable environment than its current containment. Research has indicated that SCP-088 is approximately 6,000 years old and is capable of secreting a variety of hazardous biological compounds from its mouth and hands. Some of these substances could be of great strategic value if replicated, but until a means to extract them without awakening SCP-088 is found, research into this area is on hold. SCP-088 was recovered with the mummified remains of 23 beings sharing a similar morphology. However, none of these beings were alive, and examination suggests that they were originally human. Information obtained by Agents E088-3 and E088-7 and their subsequent mutation due to SCP-088 exposure corroborates this theory. SCP-088 was recovered in 1930 from a subterranean complex below Los Angeles, California. The site was originally discovered by G. using a device he called a radio X-ray, which was little more than a mechanical dowsing rod. While methods were dubious, his discovery was not. After mapping a series of tunnels and gold deposits within the city, declared that he had found the lost city of the lizard people, as described in the legend of Arizona's Hopi tribe. Claims went as far as to be featured on the front page of the Los Angeles Times on January 29, 1934, before the Foundation was able to verify his claims and silence Mr. The subterranean complex was not nearly as extensive as described in legend, and most of the artifacts recovered within were too corroded to provide significant information, save for a long message carved into the rock wall of an unfinished tunnel. For a partial translation of this text, see document 088-14. In more than 70 years of containment, SCP-088 has only aroused from a state of hibernation twice, breaching containment with a caustic fluid that dissolves most minerals and metals. Each time, multiple personnel were exposed to a second compound which SCP-088 uses to propagate itself. Affected personnel underwent a painful mutation after which they shared the physical characteristics of SCP-088. Those few who received a large dosage of the compound administered directly via mouth-to-mouth contact were changed the fastest and subsequently sacrificed themselves to protect SCP-088 from harm. SCP-088 has also demonstrated the ability to produce potent neurotoxins in liquid and gaseous form to combat containment personnel. Containment during the second breach was re-achieved by isolating SCP-088 and affected personnel in the facility and lowering the temperature. Affected personnel built a pedestal from discarded equipment, upon which SCP-088 took a recumbent position before slipping back into hibernation. The mutated personnel were neutralized at this point, and SCP-088 was returned to containment. The current strategy of lowered temperature and non-metallic containment has been successful in keeping SCP-088 isolated. SCP-088 was reclassified to safe status on November 19.
Case file ends. Which case file do you require?
Item number SCP-098. Object Class Safe. Members of SCP-098 are to be kept in a 10-meter by 20-meter room with small pools of water and a sandy substrate. Rocks and driftwood are to be left in a random arrangement for SCP-098 to nest in. The enclosure is to be cleaned on a weekly basis. During this time, all members of SCP-098 are to be accounted for first to prevent injury or death to personnel or SCP-098. Any members of SCP-098 that appear ill or injured are to be removed and examined. SCP-098 is a species of previously unknown crustacean. They resemble crabs, but rather than chellae, the front limbs terminate in knife-like structures that incorporate silica to form an extremely sharp edge. Specimens reach larger size than normal for land-dwelling arthropods, at 40 centimeters tall as well as 60 centimeters across. Specimens of SCP-098 prefer an environment with ready concealment and shallow pools of water. They are able to breathe both water and air, splitting their time between the two environments. They are also capable of vocalizations, using a larynx-like structure attached to primitive lungs. SCP-098 demonstrates pack hunting behavior when attacking prey. When specimens detect a prey animal, they will attempt to surround it. They will mimic the sounds made by the creature, apparently to confuse it or draw it into position. When ready, one specimen will approach the prey animal. When his attention is fixed on the first specimen, others will move behind the prey and attempt to cut the tendons of the legs or other limbs. They will continue to mimic the sounds that the prey animal makes to disorient it. After making a cut, a specimen of SCP-098 will spit a viscous mucus over the wound. This substance hardens rapidly, preventing blood loss or infection. This continues until the prey animal is completely immobilized. At this point, specimens will begin to feed on the prey animal by cutting off small pieces of flesh. This begins with soft, readily accessible tissues, such as those of the face and extremities, before moving on to other parts of the body. Specimens of SCP-098 will only feed so long as the prey animal is capable of respiration. Feeding can last several hours or several days depending on the size of the prey animal and the number of specimens present. Specimens of SCP-098 show some ability Specimens of SCP-098 show some ability to communicate, alerting each other to the presence of threats or potential food over short distances. It was initially thought that SCP-098 might display human-level intelligence, but are now believed to merely parrot human speech. SCP-098 normally poses little threat to adult humans, preferring smaller prey such as dogs, cats, and small pigs. However, they have attacked larger prey when a sufficient number of specimens were present, or else other food was unavailable. SCP-098 was discovered in Brazil after a rash of child disappearances. Addendum 098-1. SCP-098 is more intelligent than previously thought. They adapt quickly to changes in their environment and have shown an ability to remember patterns, such as feeding and cleaning times and habitual movement of personnel entering their enclosure. Cleaning personnel must ensure that they regularly vary their routes through the enclosure to prevent incidents. Dr. Mann has taught several of them simple tricks, and they seem to understand the meaning of several commands. Testing will continue.
Case file ends. Which case file do you require?
Item number SCP-019. Object Class Euclid. See Addendum 109-1. SCP-109 is currently located in Non-Critical Storage Unit 7 and requires no active monitoring. It should not be removed from the unit except to be transported to a research facility, and then only by personnel of a Level 3 security clearance or higher. When replacing SCP-019, personnel should ensure that it is firmly closed and that it is placed on the molded pedestal in the upright position. SCP-019 is a standard-issue United States Army canteen, circa 1899, made of a tin alloy and fitted with a heavy cotton cover and a black leather strap. When opened, the item is seen to be nearly full of water. A seemingly unlimited amount of water can be removed from the container without changing the water level or the item's mass, which remains at a constant 3.16 kilograms. Probes of the interior of the container reported an estimated volume of 2.8 liters and a shape consistent with the outside. The water in SCP-019 is of a slight blue-gray tint, with concentrations of 20 parts per million of tin and 170 parts per million of other electrolytes. The water remains at a constant temperature of 19 degrees Celsius, but can be heated or cooled when moved to another container. Addendum 109-1. Upon the item's delivery to Site-19, it was given the object class of Safe. As tests were conducted on the item, uncertainty surrounding test results prompted General to upgrade the class to Euclid. Addendum 109-2. Recently, a request was filed and granted by Dr. for permission to water an okra plant growing in his office with SCP-109. Staff should be notified that Dr. uses SCP-109 for this purpose for a small time every Friday. Addendum 109-3. It has come to my attention that new Class D personnel are often dared to empty the bottle. Guards are reminded that they are to discourage such activity, inform them that SCP-109 is bottomless. Chanting, "Chug!" repeatedly is considered unprofessional. Dr. Klein. Due to the range of tests conducted on SCP-109, this section has been provided to present test results in chronological order. Dates have been withheld for confidentiality. Test 1. Subjects imbibed water from SCP-109 reported that it was very refreshing and, despite the metal content, very tasty. Urine samples from subjects were normal. Test 2. Follow-up test to Test 1. Had subjects dehydrate themselves for 1 full day before imbibing water from SCP-109. Test remains unfinished as subjects were unable to provide urine samples. Test 3. Subject bathed in water from SCP-109. Subject reported increased energy and a much improved complexion following the bath. Test 4. Streptococcus bacteria cultured in water from SCP-109 derived and multiplied quickly. Water from SCP-109 administered to subject suffering from streptococcal infection killed nearly all bacteria and produced a full recovery within 24 hours. Test 5. Blood substitute created using water from SCP-109 given in transfusion to pedestrian hit by drunk driver. Subject showed no malign symptoms from the transfusion and made a full recovery. Subject's physical therapy concluded 6 weeks early. Test 6. Water from SCP-109 administered to various plant organisms, all of which remained very healthy and showed no malign symptoms. One proposition for a test which has been discussed for some time has been one involving a combination of SCP-109 and SCP-402. Due to the risk of losing one or both items or creating a hazardous situation, this test has never been conducted.
Thank you for your participation in Project 82, transmitting psioanalytic data to Dr.